guess it's in the DNA of a mother to want to make sure that her offspring are going to be okay. And you can't change that, and you shouldn't want to change that. It's when boundaries become so far detached that the children think they have a right to impute into the privacy of the adult. Now, I'm talking about adult children imputing into the privacy of the adult by way of enmeshment. The adults made a way for these children to be able to, by transaction, share into their lives and the parent into the children's adult lives, but not on a maternal level, on an intimate level, a level where nobody seems to know what really is going on relative to boundaries. You come into the presence of these people and you can just tell something has gone beyond what it should be. These people are a little bit too close. And you try and make excuses for it, compensations for it. And you try and convince yourself that you're going to be able to manage it and all that. But when there's hostility involved, a hostility that becomes possessive, demonic, determined to disrupt the peace of an intimate relationship and to encroach into the privacy of that intimate relationship, then there has to be things put in place. If those boundaries, as it were, aren't put in place, it's going to cause conflict. Somebody's going to break. Now, it could be a multiple breakdown for all involved, because when somebody's investing intimately into somebody else's life via a relationship, and now there's an intrusion that's caused and a violation that's gained access through enmeshment, and that enmeshment now has enabled, as it were, a legitimacy to the intrusion, because that's what enmeshment does. Enmeshment's given a legitimacy for the enmeshed person to have access to the intimate part of the other person's life where they shouldn't have. That's part of the bargain. That's part of the payoff. And that means that the boundaries have been sacrificed for access, and illegitimate access. And because it's illegitimate, that gives it a passageway to intrude where it's not wanted, because it's open access. It's like an open pass. And so when one or the other meets an intimate person and they're going to try and build an intimate relationship, it's very difficult, firstly, for the other person to understand that access has to be narrowed down, and for the person that needs to reduce the access to communicate that this needs to happen. And what can happen is you're going to get objections, you're going to get contention, you're going to get confrontation, you're going to get objections, you're going to get arguing, fighting, yelling, screaming, and it's got nothing to do with the person that's come in from the outside, provided they're doing the right thing. I've presented myself tremendously and still had to witness these contentions and objections and confrontations and conflicts and arguments and whinging and whining, all because of apparently, when you put it down to it, the fact that their attention, the mum's attention or the child's attention, vice versa, has been taken away from either. And if you're unaware, if you're a person that's come into this tribe or family or group and you're unaware of how these things work, that's going to be complicated, because you're going to go into a situation where they know how to navigate you in a way in which you just think it's a passing problem. It's just a problem at that point. But it's not. The person that's got the issue will not relent. And as a matter of fact, they'll go so far as a psychological or narcissistic breakdown. They're not going to be frightened to have a breakdown, because that's going to be the ultimate form of give me my attention back. Right? I've had them threaten suicide to the parent. The parent feigned sicknesses and goodness knows what. And it's all manipulative and damaging and psychologically troubling. But it doesn't stop. These people go on and on and on and on until everybody's worn out and they've had enough. Now, the problem is usually going to be the answer for the enmeshed people. So while the enmeshed people have the problem, that problem will be the answer, because when the intimate relationship's gone due to the enmeshment and the issues associated with that, the enmeshed people end up together. The enmeshed people end up without the triangulated person. So they've got each other back. They get back to where they were before you come along. And this could go on. You could be in the relationship for 10 years. 1 year, 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever. But they're going to go back to their enmeshment. So the problem being the enmeshment, which drove you away, right? It drove you away. You knew what was going on. Now brings them back together. So you wasted your time. It's a waste of time being with people that are enmeshed with family members, because I've had 3 instances of it, you always end up on the outside. It's just, you cannot beat the DNA connection. And I don't try to. I just go, oh God, what's going to happen this time? And you know what's going to happen. And I've seen these mothers try as hard as they can to escape the enmeshment. But they just haven't been able to, because one bloke was drunk and that, and feigned having a fit, but he didn't have a fit. He passed out because he was drunk and weed himself in the doctor's surgery, 22-year-old. Right at the time where the mother needed to decide, do I take this son of mine away from what he's done to this marriage. He'd ruined the marriage. But the son was making sure she was going to take him away, because he was making out it was all the stress and everything that was causing him to have a fit. But it wasn't. It was his own manipulation. So you are up against incredible opposition that's built on a DNA connection. Blood's thicker than water, and you have to get out.